How is everybody doing? So we're going live today from outside in the beautiful free state of Florida. This was an extremely grueling week. I don't know how Mark or anybody else that travels for a living does it. I don't really know. Crystal and I were in multiple cities, but we were in Pittsburgh for the end of last week, or at the last weekend. So last weekend we were in Pittsburgh. Holy shit! And then we flew back after we saw my mom, and she's doing a little better. So thank you everybody that said something about it. I appreciate it. And then we were in Loveland. We flew into Cincinnati, then went to Loveland, Ohio for an amazing pre-Arnold event. And by the way, I just want to let everybody know right up here is you can go to tigerfitness.com. They have a class. They have a huge sale. And we're going to talk about this a little bit on this episode because the travel's been interesting, but also like just some perspective. So give me 1 second here. I just want to make sure you guys can absolutely hear me. My microphone's all the way over here, and I'm kind of turned catty-corner. But listen, we traveled a lot. We were a couple different airports. Holy shit, society. We need to get on this. Enough playing around, enough going back and forth. You said I'm not healthy. I'm pretty. I don't care. Like society's in danger. Stranger danger. And the strangers are the people that sells the food, I guess. I don't know. But Ray Nish, 110 pounds down on no morbidity, by the way. What? No morbidity, by the way. You can get it at ambrosiacollective.com. It is in stock. It is also in stock still at vitamin shops. Multiple other places coming soon. It will be, by the way, getting back in stock at Tiger Fitness, hopefully within the next couple of days. I don't know. But give me a second. We'll share ours and theirs. We'll alternate. By the way, you can also use the code capital M, capital F, ING, capital C, capital O, at Tiger Fitness now also. Mark and I worked that out. It was great seeing them. We were both texting on the way back. We wish we lived closer because it's, well, we're both crazy, so we understand each other. This, by the way, guys, this is for our coaching. I'm going to put it right here. Boom. And then I wanted to make sure that we shared the link to get to Tiger Fitness. And I'll share that here in a minute. On day 2 of Nomo, I hope it's doing really, really well. I hope you're starting to feel like, I'm just not that hungry. Make sure you're hydrating really, really well. Where's my hydration? Right here. I'm kind of all over the place. But today, before we get too involved in it, hello to everybody that came into the chat. How the fuck you doing? We're going to just go over this thing with Tess Holliday real quick. And then, not real quick, we're going to talk about it ad nauseum probably. But this last trip, kind of shocked me. I got to be, we don't, go many places. Crystal and I are pretty happy here in the free state of Florida. We both felt a little anxious when we were outside of the state. Just because, and you'll see it later on this week, but I'm doing a 3 years ago video. Because 3 years ago, the world went completely crazy. And people who were people who were saying the things that I was saying, we were literally at one point in time, I was honestly worried that I might get arrested for stuff, for saying I thought I was going to get to that stage where they would arrest people for trying to speak out against the crazy stuff that was going on. It was insane. At one point in time, and people don't know the story, at one point in time, Crystal and I were talking about making an app for a free speech app, right? And we had reached out to Amazon because this is before the whole thing with Parler happened. And we were going to make our own free speech app. And we had investors and everything like that. And all of a sudden, they canceled Parler. And I reached out to Amazon because they were going to we were basically going to have the app built off of the Amazon framework, right? And I was like, can we guarantee that, we're planning on being free speech? Can we guarantee this is happening? They said, we can't guarantee it. So we didn't. But I'll be doing the whole 3 years ago thing. But we don't travel much outside of Florida. And because I trust Florida, and I don't trust just about anywhere else. But I can say this: we've gone up to Tennessee a couple times and here and there, and seems the more northern you get, the worse society is when it comes to our health. And a lot of that is, I think, because of the weather and stuff like that, and sunlight and the whole nine. But I'm going to try to get a little shift going on here because I think it's time. Like, and I'm still going to do this content, just so all you guys know. It's not like I'm not going to do it, but we have to actually start taking steps here, you know. So instead of me, like I'm sure I'm going to be pointing out the ridiculousness of all this every time we pull somebody like Tess or somebody up. So I'm not saying we're going to do this any less frequently, but we are very much going to do these breakdowns how I'm going to do them now, because for every time I point out something negative that I think that they do, I'm going to thoroughly explain why, and I'm going to try to give the accounting of what Crystal and I would coach the person to do, so anybody else that's in their situation will at least hear the information. Like we are going to be a part of the solution. We already are very much. We have tens of thousands of people already using No Morbidity, thousands of people through our coaching. But there's not. I enjoy just letting myself rant sometimes. But I'm making a promise to myself and my audience and anybody that tunes in that I will try to offer a complete explanation of my thoughts. And I won't just call somebody stupid or lazy or anything like that without explaining thoroughly why and the ramifications of and what I would do about it. So, and I'm going to try to, I want all of you guys to try to hold me to this too, for real. Like this will be like, because this isn't like something for me, but this is like, I want to make sure that everybody understands this is not about shaming anybody. This is, I mean, we can talk about shame because I'm sorry, but there's a lot of stuff that people should be ashamed for. Like to say you shouldn't be ashamed of something is kind of massively arrogant. Like everybody should have some shame in their game, you know. If you don't, it's called narcissism. I don't know how we've like institutionalized narcissism. It's so weird. Like we live in a society. Like I will stand in front of a mirror and I like mentally pick myself apart. I'm happy with how I look. I look better now than I did in my fucking 40s. You know, like I'm happy with how I look. But I'll be like, I wish my arms were bigger. I wish this was that. I wish that, like all the mental shit. And but in the meantime, I'm actually in very, very, very good shape. You know, like in very, very, very good shape. And then, and like Crystal always points back to this. The first time I really, really dieted down, I hated how I looked. And she was like, but it was because I was focusing on my face and stuff like that. You know, but she said I looked absolutely fine. I think I look pretty good. And here in a couple of months, I think it'll look even better. But I'll still pick apart every part of me. You know, it's human nature, and you should do it. You know what? It causes you to want to try harder at something, or it causes you to have to accept things that may not be, you know, rosy, keen, and peachy. But these are all life skills that you important and need to have in order to love yourself. But right now we have most of the people that will look at themselves and be like, I wish this was a little better. Like I fucking sat at dinner listening to Mark Lobliner talk about he wishes his fucking triceps were bigger. Like, you know. He's a professional bodybuilder. And of course he's like, I just wish my triceps were bigger. You know, like what the fuck? Okay. Like the people that should be less critical about their bodies are very critical about their bodies. And the people that are like openly just trying to like, I love myself for who I am, are completely unhealthy about it with no shame. Like you've eaten yourself into an ill state. Like, and the problem is we're in total denial of so many things in our society right now because we're in denial of being fat is actually bad for you. Like we're about to watch this video from an abjectly horrible human being. Like, I mean, it's not because she's fat. In fact, I almost just because society's training me to do this way, I almost just said it's not just because she's fat. There's nothing wrong with fucking being fat. If you get fat, there's nothing wrong with it. If you do something about it, like you should view it as what it was. It was you getting unhealthy for a reason. We should call it unhealthy. It is unhealthy. And we're decoupling with this. I talked about this 4 years ago, the decoupling of negative outcome, the negative outcomes with being fat from fat people is very dangerous because it is going to then convince people that it's not that big of a deal. The travel we did, what the hell, people? I mean, it is like bad. It is, I'm sorry. I just have a hard time believing when you know what a non-fat person actually looks like, you realize how fat we are. Okay, I would be considered overweight I have like a BMI of like 27 and a half right now, right? My waist to height ratio is very good. I would almost, I'm extra skinny. I'm almost be like, if my waist was smaller, I would be considered like too skinny almost, like, but so I'm very healthy there. But I look at myself, so I can kind of gear like, okay, at least like I'm still a little overweight technically, and I look around, holy shit, people, right? When did getting to size have a 36 pants for men and up and way up? When did that become the norm? That's fat. 36 is fat for most men. The average height man, that's fat. That means you got a lot of visceral fat, buddy. Fix this shit. Like, and the visceral fat is the visceral fat that's most dangerous because that causes non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, causes kidney function problems, causes insulin resistance. It causes heart disease, like cancers. We need to get here. Like, so I'm going to try to make sure we change this up just a little bit to put people on the impressing of the importance of getting this stuff done. And I had a long talk with we not long, but we had a good talk with Mark and Chad and everything like that. Like how I'm not big on performance supplements. I don't even think I have pre-workout in the house anymore. I don't think I do. It's not necessary for me. It's absolutely not. One, I do get enough caffeine with all the other stuff I take, but two, it's just not. I don't need the huge pump. I take creatine every day, and I'm going to start talking to you guys through supplements to help you guys control your hunger and make sure you're getting your proper nutrition and feel good about stuff. And I'm going to talk about safe and healthy, effective activities and things like that. We really need to get there. Like, we need to make a concerted effort. I'm going to keep on, being me, and I'm going to keep on talking about this. I'm just making a promise to myself that I am going to make sure that we actually start addressing some of these issues. I'm not going to take no for an answer for a lot of these folks. It's just not like Tess Holliday and her fans being upset that somebody called her fat is the absolute least of her and her audience's problems. Like, the absolute least. I am. Society needs to move past a lot of things, and I'm going to show you one of them here very quickly. Here it is.
Comment a lot, so let's address it.
So here's Tess. Oh, I gotta remove the banner. Or wait, no, I don't. We don't need to. I'll read the banner for you if I can. Well, I gotta blow it up first. Banner is. What's wrong with you? You eat so much. I've seen videos, and it doesn't look like you have an ad. You have no ideas what you're saying. Okay, so she was giving advice. I think this person commented. So Tessa's going to respond back. She has every right to. It's her platform, right?
I get this comment a lot, so let's address it. You're right. I do eat, and sometimes.
The thing is, here's where we have to get to. She should not be saying, like, obviously we're right. You're 400 pounds. We need to stop humoring this. And the conversation should end there, right? Like, it should be like, you're a very sickly woman. We need to help you. It's clearly physically destroying this woman, right? I mean, she's already a horrible person. Abjectly, she's an absolutely horrible, lying, conniving narcissist. I've never, like, the whole, like, what we're about to get to about her lying about her eating disorder. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. It is massively disrespectful to people that actually have anorexia or know people that have anorexia that have died. On the video that on my Twitter, I posted this video, and somebody commented that they've lost two people close to them. One died at 63 pounds and one died at 53 pounds as adults. Like, her saying she has anorexia and she's starving is literally just amazingly disgusting to me. She's an abjectly horrible person. She scammed people out of money at one point in time for t-shirts. I shouldn't say scammed because then YouTube gets upset. She took people's money, supposedly saying she was going to give it to shelters for abused women and didn't. She's just a horrible person, right? And how she treats her fans. We've had clients that have bought things from her. She's a horrible person. They've bought photo shoots with her, and she's been rude to them. She's not a good person. It's literally almost irrelevant. But when people understand why I dislike her so much, it's not because of her being fat. She's just horrible, horrible, horrible. The fat part is the part that I actually feel bad for her about, because her eating disorder has very clearly taken over her mentality. Like, she obviously has very, very seriously low cognitive skills when it comes to looking at like perseverance, looking out for her future outcome. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if she has some sort of neuroinflammation going on, because, in case you didn't know, being morbidly obese in of itself causes severe systemic bodily inflammation, because, and again, this is going to be me explaining every little thing, because inflammation is horrible. There's, you know what? This is another reason why I take Nutrient Driver, by the way. Nutrient Driver, you can get 50% off, by the way, or use the code MFXCOO. But Nutrient Driver has berberine and banaba in it. It helps with everything from blood sugar regulation to forcing nutrients into the cells. It's marketed as making sure you're getting the optimum nutrition by having it forced in your cells, when it's actually, the ingredients in it at the doses he has it as are normally better than metformin for blood sugar regulation, right? So I would also suggest this to her and everybody else that has a problem with carbohydrates, because what I would suggest for her right away, by the way, first portion of this would solve hers and a bunch of your problems, like a bunch of everybody. This is the biggest step you can possibly do. This is the second thing I would have people do. I'll get to the first one second. But the second thing I would have Tess Holliday or any of you do, if you are very serious about losing weight, is eat no processed foods. Do not eat anything with flour or anything with sugar in it. And I mean anything with any kind of flour in it. Anything with any kind of, very seriously processed flour. Like, it's, if you have a tablespoon of chickpeas or a tablespoon of chickpea flour, there's a very huge difference in the caloric load. It's still a very highly calorically dense item. Don't eat those. Eat nothing but veggies, fruits, meats, eggs. Even stay away from cheese. And everybody's, if that's too much for you to live, because that's the problem right now. This woman doesn't want to act like, this woman is trying to pretend, because it's a land of make believe. We've seen you walk, woman, right? This woman wants to pretend that she, is not in some sort of very serious physical jeopardy. She wants to pretend that she is not sickly. So, I mean, you can watch her, like, how long do you think it would take her to get off the ground if she fell down? Like, how long? It's not, and people are like, oh, maybe just a couple seconds. Maybe a couple seconds. What if there's a problem? What if she has to save her kid? What if, like, what's going on? Like, you should be able to get up, right? If in any way, if being fat in any way is slowing your movement and you have children, what the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing? Right? Somebody asked if cottage cheese would be okay, though, right? If I was Tess Holliday, because here's the thing, they need to convince themselves that they can. But if you can't do without cottage cheese, why? I mean, I eat cottage cheese. I'm not saying you need to get rid of it. What I would do for her is suggest to get off everything like that. I mean, it sounds to me like you're already losing weight. If you really do, people, if you really, really, really have a hard time losing weight and keeping it off, I suggest you try to lower the amount of food you have and try to get the most nutrients for the food you eat, which is normally the most satiating portion of it anyway. So if this woman switches from the 4,000 to 6,000 calories she is gorging herself on as an average on a daily basis, we'll just go with the average on a daily basis, because math and physics is reality. So we'll get to that when she talks here in a second. But if we would just have that in nutritious food, that would lower it down. Like, she could eat, like, for real, she could eat like 2,500 calories of beef, veggies, and fruit, and it would be a massive, incredible amount of volume of food, and she would lose rapid weight. The problem is she will not eat like that. Like, at no point in time does anybody that weighs above 300 pounds not have an eating disorder. Get there. Like, immediately. If you have lost weight, like, this is the problem. Society, like these people that offer the weight loss drugs and weight loss pharmaceuticals and all like that, they don't want to acknowledge this. But a lot of you, a huge portion of the country, has uncontrolled binge eating disorder right now. Like, uncontrolled binge eating disorder, because it wasn't just Like it wasn't just the people in the airports. It wasn't. It was the people. But we ate out at restaurants a couple times, and like I remember thinking to myself, even the skinny people are sick. Like our waiter, well, we actually ended up having two waiters, but we had a waiter then a waitress because the waiter was horrible. But that's a whole different story at a whole different time. And I didn't almost go to jail. I didn't really almost go to jail, but I just wanted to say that to see what Crystal would do. She was like, but it's a joke. But I remember when he came over, he's a thin kid. Like he's got like thin shoulders, and he's not a big guy. He's not a small guy. Like I'm not saying he's tiny or anything like that, but he's like the average size 5'8" or whatever. And I remember thinking that his waistline was bigger than his shoulders. It's super unhealthy. He would I almost guarantee you he would be at most considered barely overweight, if not like right at the top level of healthy weight, because depending on the rest of his build and muscle mass. So this kid who's in his like 20s is low muscle mass, high visceral fat, even at a healthy body weight. It's horrible. It's horrible. It is absolutely horrible. We need to wake up to the reality that the whole like a huge population of people, even the healthy weighted ones or below healthy weighted ones, are also unhealthy. Like when the fat acceptance community, like Tess, or like you can't tell if they're healthy by looking at them. Not all the time. You're right, because sometimes people can look healthy and not be, but we also can tell your health by looking at you. If you have hundreds of extra pounds kind of just hanging off of you in skin folds, you are unhealthy. It's not even a huge problem with society is that we've even begun to debate this. It's not. It's a ridiculous argument. It's foolishness. We have to stop willfully suspending reality in society because it's enslaving us, and it's enslaving fat people at a higher readily rate. You think Tess Holliday could last a month without her medications? How many of these people don't even cook their own food? We need to start wondering what's going to happen if something happens. And even if nothing happens, we need to start in order to get people like her, even though she's a horribly abject person, we still should not want them to die. So somebody said to me, but sorry, but we should not want them to die. We should still want to help them. And she doesn't need to accept it, but anybody else in her situation and things like her, please pay attention. We get there very fast. So here we go.
Sometimes I eat a lot, and sometimes, like today, I don't.
Yes, but you see what happens. That does not mean you have a restrictive eating disorder. There is absolutely, especially in the last year and a half, there's absolutely no way you ate less calories than you were burning because you visibly gained weight in the last year. Since the pandemic, I bet you she's gained 125, 150 pounds. She's not anorexic. You're not going to be like, she got diagnosed for atypical anorexia while she was gaining weight. Supposedly, she still has not come forward with this. That's why I'm saying it's horribly, this is why she needs to stop doing that. You want to glutton yourself to death? You just look like a clown at this stage. But like now, like the whole, like, do you realize how many people you're hurting, Tess Holliday? She's just an abjectly horrible person. But to her fans that come watch this, do you folks realize how horrible that is to lie about having an eating disorder? Like all of you probably have eating disorders. I'll say this again, the vast majority of the population, like a good 60% probably has some sort of binge eating disorder at this point. Like pay attention. We're that sickly, right? Like even people eat way too much and they are enslaved to food way too much. Like people are driven by the flavor of sweet and processed. We're there. But like to Tess Holliday's fans, don't you see how horrible that is? How absolutely horrible it is to lie about having an eating disorder to get more clicks and shit like that. And there's nobody that's horrible, horrible, so bad. And the worst part is how objectively untrue it is. And she's just trying to bend reality to her will. Like again, I will open debate anybody, any licensed clinician that would have the ability to somehow diagnose her with atypical anorexia, I'd love to have you on the channel, whoever that fool might be. I'd love to have you on that channel so you can discuss how visibly gaining weight, talking about how awesome her body is, how she loves being fat, and talking about, videoing herself eating, gaining tons of weight while videoing herself eating and broadcasting it out, and then saying how awesome she looks and being proud of her body. I would love to hear defended how she somehow has atypical anorexia. She eats on camera. I mean, almost no anorexic I've ever seen eats on camera. Get there. Like I am not the ridiculous one, I'm not the crazy one. I might not be the nice one, but at least I'm like openly not nice. She's just not nice and lies. And about all of them. I'm not the mean one. Me pointing out reality is not mean. That's the nicest thing that anybody's doing for most of these folks.
Would your interpretation of me and my perceived health still be the same if you didn't have that information?
My perception of Tess Holliday's health, which again, considered an expert on this topic, is that her heart is massively taxed. This is the very least a scenario I look at it, right? Because she's trying to say you can't look at me and tell me if I'm healthy or not. You're 400 pounds. You're 3 times the size you should likely be at your height. You are enormous. Your heart is having to pump blood to even more than 3 times what it was designed to do. Because you see how this works, right? Your heart is designed to pump enough blood to feed the tissue surrounding your bones and stuff like that, right? So take the weight of your bones out and your organs, because you're not supposed to grow more organs, right? So a huge portion of your lean mass is your skeleton, your muscle mass, which is only going to get so big no matter what. Your skeletal muscle mass is only going to get so big no matter what, right? The rest of it's fat. When you see these big fat men, and they look like they got like 30-inch arms, they actually have like 15-inch arms, 16-inch arms. The rest of it's fat. So your heart actually has to pump blood to more than two more times what it was supposed to, because if we take all your lean mass, your organ mass, what your organ mass should be, what your skeletal mass should be, and what your lean muscle mass should be, away from that, we are now looking at how many more times fat we are pumping blood to. Your heart is being taxed. Her sitting there, her heart's being taxed. Yet alone, your load-bearing joints every time you stand up and waddle, because this woman her legs are so big that she's waddling, which also means that she is so big that it has affected her mobility, which therefore means it's unhealthy. There's 3 basic things that I do not even need lab work on this woman to tell you she's unhealthy, because reality exists. I don't even need to step her on a scale. I can literally watch her waddle and tell you that that's unhealthy. Reality exists. These people, there's not 2 sides to this. We're just pretending that there is, right? I mean, this is where the land of make believe humors this, where we're actually humoring people to death, to illness. Do you think what do all of you think the possibilities of people like Tess Holliday even having a following if money couldn't have been made from her by big pharma and big food and everything like that? Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, the push for fat acceptance was a 5 to 10 year push. Now all of a sudden, being fat is not your fault. It's all genetic. Take this drug that you're going to have to take for the rest of your life. And it's just another thing if I told you so. But once again, the biggest thing I would tell her if she was a client of mine, and this is again, I promised that I as I said things, I would try to make sure from this moving forward, I would try to make sure that I added some sort of reasoning why, which I just did, and some solution. And please get some counseling from a counselor that's going to anchor you in reality, because like if you go to a counselor that denies certain biological facts, like you being so big that you waddle, if they think that that's not unhealthy, you should fire them because reality exists and you're unhealthy. Again, we need to get there. This is an awesome one. Sorry. Wow. If anyone is on the fence about no morbidity or Amber, what are you waiting for? I'm down 69 pounds and counting, and my cholesterol and A1C are perfect. IBL, dude, send me a message on send me and Mark a message on me or Mark a message saying that on Twitter or something like that. That's amazing. Great job. Good for you. Glad we could help.
Would you still think that I was lying to you by looking at me based on the information that I just gave you?
I absolutely think you'd be lying because you could easily eat. Like, I bet you this woman could eat 10,000 calories 2 days in a row, not eat anything. Like you, okay. Tess Holliday, 400-pound woman. Her basal metabolic TDEE, like her total, or her daily caloric energy expenditure, is somewhere in likely around 3,500. Well, probably somewhere around, depending woman, middle age. Her fucking hormones are probably wrecked. She's on multiple medication. She's on antidepressants, so she could probably take in 3,500 to 5,000 calories a day, depending on her activity, and that just be maintenance. So, but I also think that in a day's sitting, she could probably eat 12 to 14,000 calories from what I've seen her eat, from what I've visibly seen her eat. You know, not to mention, and I mean, she drink, and that's not just gorging food. Like when people wonder why I say this, like she probably eats a like metric shit ton of food. I'm not denying that, but I visibly watch her drink thousands of calories of liquids every day. Like she goes to Starbucks. If she goes to Starbucks twice, we're looking at 1,000 calories, right? She drinks soda all the time. We're at 2,000 calories just in sodas. Like if just because you drink it doesn't mean they don't exist, you know. Like for my services, the links out for my services right here, man. Science Planet, there you go. And for tigerfitness.com, you can just go to tigerfitness.com, use the code MFING, or do that over at Ambrosia too. We're fully stocked in Ambrosia, but yeah, there's the link for my coaching. If you sign up for coaching right now, I'll get to you here when I'm done with this. But I mean, I forget where I was at. Hang on.
What if I told you that I hadn't eaten more than one meal in the last 3 days?
I'd say that if you haven't eaten more than one meal I'd say if you haven't eaten more than one meal in the last 3 days, I'm assuming it's per day. But even if it's just once, like it does not mean that you have anorexia. Like you don't mean just because you didn't eat, like just because you feel hungry occasionally does not mean you have anorexia of any kind. You are gaining weight. If somebody did give Tess Holliday this diagnosis, they lied to her, and it's horrible because now she's literally making a fool of herself and insulting tons of people. Like history's not going to look back on this nicely. You know, it's just not by any stretch because she's just abjectly awful. But this is not good. You know, I mean, she's in denial. Like, and just because you eat one meal a day, if you ate 5,000 calories at a sitting, you know, I have a hard time believing she does not get Starbucks or drink fluids every day. You know, like I just don't. I know very large people. She's not going a day without sugar. It's not happening. I don't believe it at all. At all. As a matter of fact, we could, again, like anybody that says that they only eat whatever, they're not counting something. Reality exists. Physics exists. We shouldn't be having these arguments. You know, I guarantee you, Tess, if you're wondering why, it's not because you're not ingesting calories. You're talking meals. You're still hungry because you only ate once But my goodness, like you don't have anorexia. I do not have anorexia. I have binge eating. Guess what I do? There's many, 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 many days, especially when I'm on like product 2. Almost gave the name. Ooh, product 2, no morbidity, and Ember, and Immortal, and I'm using over. This is by the way awesome. By the way, I'm using it now. I love it. But I'm just not hungry, right? Because the meal I do eat, we ate just a little bit ago. It was curried chickpeas, grilled steak, pickled onions, arugula, and a peanut sauce. So protein and fats and fiber. I'm so satiated I can barely fucking move. Right? I would immediately start somebody like Tess, all whole foods. Like here's the thing. I'm honestly getting to the stage where we don't have the money to do this. And if we did, I don't really want to. I'd want somebody else to pay for it and pay me to do it. But if you guys can convince any, like myself, I bet you I could convince Mark to do it, and we could even bring a few other people in. I want to redo The Biggest Loser, and we can use fat acceptance members, and we can help them. Like actually help them. I would love like a reality version for the fat acceptance, and then fitness people like me. I bet you we could help them. Like a big compound, 24/7. We bring in counselors to help people deal with their eating disorders. We help these people get off of their sugar addiction because that's a huge part of it. That's another reason why The Biggest Loser failed. Is because a lot of these people were addicted to sugars, like addicted to them, absolutely addicted to them. They didn't give them any coping mechanisms. They just were able to put them into an environment that they weren't able to get at them, right? And they didn't coach them off of it. They didn't do anything like that. They didn't try to wean them off. They didn't try to like get anything going, you know, that will help them out in the long run, right? They just made them abstain from it. Horrible. People that big need some Adderall just to get out of bed. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. It is absolutely horrible. And then, yeah, they have them on tons and tons and tons of medications. Like, I know she's on some, but, you know.
This time because of heartbreak and less.
I also love how if you scroll 2 videos back on this one, she's like, oh my goodness, these people talk about this and it hurts my feelings so bad. But, you know, you can scroll back like 2 and she's calling some, you know, she'll drop, you know, some random commenters, you know, post and have all of her fans go fucking try to tear them apart. She's like, I hate when, because this is an act. This is all an act. All these people act. They all act. They're all fake as fuck. Because
of an eating disorder. Would you believe me then?
Yes, I would. Tess Holliday, absolutely. I absolutely believe Tess Holliday has an eating disorder. This is the problem. She absolutely does have an eating disorder. She has out of control binge eating disorder, and she's delusional about it too. Her eating disorder has convinced her that it needs to live. It needs to be the thing that's in control, because she was able to talk somebody into trying to even say and mention at some point in time that she was somehow anorexic. She's not. Like, she's not. This is all a ploy. Like, she absolutely knows it. She has always been like, don't lose weight, blah, blah, blah. So if she's trying to say like, oh, now I have a diagnosis, now the years of struggle make sense, and now I'm body positive, were you lying about liking being fat back then? Like, this is how, like, she, by her being consistent about one thing and then saying this thing now all of a sudden happens to be true and it means something about her inner thoughts, she's been lying then. Like, at some point, like, her logic makes no sense. We need to get past these people because they're all in massive, incredible denial, you know?
Or maybe, just maybe, it's impossible to look at someone and tell whether or not they're struggling with an eating disorder.
This is not true. It is not impossible to look at somebody and tell if they're struggling with an eating disorder or not. It is not. It is absolutely extremely possible. Like, not only extremely possible, but it should be the thing we notice a lot, because most 250-pound dudes and up all have eating disorders. Almost all of them. They all have eating disorders. If you're a 200-pound woman, unless you're an extremely tall woman, normally you have an eating disorder. You are overeating. You are eating in a disordered fashion. You are eating in a fashion that is causing you to not be orderly. You are not eating in an ordered fashion enough that is going to keep you healthy. You have an eating disorder. You could absolutely 100% of the time look at somebody and say they have an eating disorder. 100%. If they are morbidly obese, they have an eating disorder. It is not a question. It's not. We can try to make words mean different shit. It won't change it. It won't change it at all, you know?
Or if they're healthy. And more importantly, whether either of those two things are any of your business or concern.
You put yourself out online, it's everybody's business and concern. Absolutely. And I'm going to just argue, for the state of not wanting to see humanity die, we should be encouraging every fat person we know to lose weight. If we want to save the planet, if you love the environment, you should be encouraging people to lose weight. You don't think that obesity causes more consumption? Like, I thought we were trying to save the planet. Why should the people that fly around on private jets to go talk about why we should not be using fossil fuels, why don't they talk about how much fossil fuels are connected with the production and packaging? Like, people realize that, like, all the packaging and everything like that, you realize that that's all petroleum too, right? That's not bamboo, motherfuckers. Like, that's all fucking oil. Like, plastic is oil, idiots. What the fuck? I mean, obese people are bad for the planet. Period. They're bad for the species. Absolutely. Like, I keep hearing this argument, and this is just some real talk. But I keep hearing this argument, like, you know, if you don't want to date me, you're fat phobic. And being fat is genetic. And being fat is acknowledged to be a disease. Pick one. Because, like, most people are like, hey, I'm diseased. You need to sleep with me and have children with me. No, I'm going to go with no. Because I want my children to be healthy and happy and thrive. Because I'm not a shitty person. Because I want what's best for society, my family, my children, well, my child, my grandchildren, or my dogs, my future dogs, like stuff like that. But, like, we need to be telling every big person they need to lose weight. If there's a fat person in your life, like, have a real talk. Are they going to be mad at you? Maybe they might be. Are you going to be mad at yourself if all of a sudden they have a heart attack next week and you didn't try? I would almost guarantee it. So pick one. Like, if you don't try now to help save the person that's obese in your life and they die, they're gone. And you didn't try. If you try to save them and then they don't want to be around you, just let them know. Be nice about it, but let them know, like, I'm here to help you. But you're hurting yourself. And I'm going to say this again. It's objectively bad for the planet. It's bad for society. It's a massive burden on all of us. Like, we've been pretending in the last 3 years. The last 3 years, somehow we pretended that we need to hide so hard from a cold that we needed to close down all society because we were worried about our healthcare system getting overrun. Meanwhile, the healthcare system is predominantly clogged with, like, illnesses from people eating too much, drinking too much, and smoking too much. And as a newsflash, people don't smoke all that much anymore. It's just not that. It's not as much. It's not as much. It also just points out another thing too. Like, when we talk about this, like, okay, it's none of anybody's business, right, Tess? But you eating yourself to death, like, do we allow alcoholics to drink themselves to death even if they don't affect us? Like, do we not try to save the alcoholic who's walking because they're not going to drink and drive? I mean, are you that kind of a horrible person where we shouldn't try to help people that we very clearly see struggling? Like, if you are a 400-pound person after a global pandemic that is just absolutely known to be harder on elderly people and fat people, yet alone, if you're a 400-pound person, you know how bad you feel. You know how bad you feel every single day. You're in denial. Like, like, this was a code to everybody else, and we closed society for you. Earn that. Earn it a little bit at least, or something. My goodness.
I share what I choose on social media, and I always have. And some of it you're not going to like or understand. And I'm not doing it for you.
Well, then you don't need to like or understand their comments back to you either. I mean, I say this all the time. Like, if she doesn't like it, don't read the comments. Block the people. Do whatever. That's her platform. Like, I'm not saying that I wouldn't block somebody on here. I block people on TikTok all the time because they just try to mass report. But, like, that's your platform. But if other people talk about it, like, I make videos about me if you don't like me. Please do. it'll bring people back to my content, and my content stands on its own. My logic, like you don't need to like me as a person, or you can think I'm ugly as a person, but make all the videos you want about me, because my content, I stand by every word. I stand by every word I've ever said in the last couple of years when I'm talking about weight loss and stuff like that. And when my opinion has evolved, I actually use it as a learning moment to talk to people about why I think it's evolved. So please do make videos about me and point it back to me. That doesn't mean I owe you a platform in my comment section, especially if you're being rude to other people. But she's making a whole ass video telling people, like, stop saying this true thing about me, because it's making me realize true stuff about me.
I'm doing it for those that need to see it, that need to hear it. The internet.
For who that needs to see what and needs to hear what? Like, so here you're telling people to mind their own business, but you're also telling people that you're trying to influence other people. Like, but you realize your influence is abjectly horrible. Your influence is like visually unhealthy. Your influence is not a good thing. Like, so you're telling people to mind their own business while you try to influence other people to be as unhealthy as you are, because you're an abjectly horrible, unhealthy person. How does that even function? Like, you want people to mind their own business, not comment back to you, but you then in the next sentence say, because you have people that you need to reach. No? How about no? How about you've done enough? How about no? I mean, I'm a firm believer that I don't think her audience is nearly as big as what people think. Her audience is probably 75% bots, because when you look at these people try to interact anywhere but on TikTok, where they probably have bots because they're being pushed for the fat acceptance stuff, blah, 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 and on mainstream media mostly. Like, she does okay on Instagram, but they still get, like, it's still a hard time. But like, when it comes to actually interacting, like, she doesn't interact like well at all. Like, people don't, like, nobody's buying it. Like, if it wasn't mainstream media or, you know, legacy social media algorithm driven, these people would have almost no audiences. She's famous because she's fat. She's the literal, like, the mainstream media is now the big tent circus, and she's one of the fat ladies of the circus. You know, and then we have Lizzo, the fat lady of the circus that sings. And like, they're parading these people, like, you know, to keep you guys entertained. Like, I mean, it's like the Coliseum and the, you know, and the circus all wrapped up in the one for all of you folks. They have all of us fighting, and then they have the clowns and the entertainment, while the people that are, you know, telling her that it's okay to be fat now take this Ozempic, and the people that are telling everybody else to stay in and put a diaper on your face because, you know, we don't need to make sense. Like, pay attention. Like, that's the only reason why she's famous. They needed her. They need distractions like this. It also helps people think, hey, they can be unhealthy. But I mean, let's be real. Like, this is all comedy. This is a clown show.
It's a big place, and there are going to be plenty of people that you can follow that suit your fancy.
So again, that was Miss Tess Holliday making a mockery of herself. Ellen, do you have a bird? No, I live in Florida, bro. I'm outside. Like, the pool's right here. No, I don't have a bird. No birds. No birds. Birds bite, y'all. It's an inside joke between Crystal and I, but birds bite, y'all, for real. So, hey, by the way, everybody, just wanted to remind everybody, you can get our coaching services right here. You can go get No Morbidity at Ambrosia Collective right now. It is non-stimulant, non-thermogenic, appetite suppressant. We do have thousands of people. There was a guy in here earlier who's lost 110 pounds on it in like 5 fucking months, motherfuckers. Like, here's my thing. Our results are repeatable and workable, and they are side effect free. You know, like, we've had 1 or 2 people be like, hey, I got nauseous from the gel cap or something like that. But like, the only thing you notice, which was one of the reasons why we had a hard time selling it to the big bosses. The only thing you notice is after a couple of days, you notice that you get full much easier, and you're just not hungry. Hydrate really well. It's $39.99. $39.99. That's $39.99 a month. You can get a better deal on it. Go to Ambrosia right now, buy a 6-pack deal, use the code MFNCOO, capital M, capital F, ING, capital C, capital O, capital O. You can go there right now, get 6 months worth. It works out to something ridiculously low, like something like $32 a bottle or something like that for a month. It's like $1 a day to save probably $5 a day worth of food. You know? And also, there's our coaching packages with it. You can get a consult. You can even just join the app. It's where I keep track of my food. I actually sent a picture of my food to the app earlier on the day. Anyway, here we go. Let's do some live Q&A. Bots and trolls. Yeah. I mean, the fat acceptance people it's all bots and trolls. Nobody really buys this stuff. Like, you don't run into these people. Like, when you see interviews of fat acceptance people and there's like any type of back and forth, it automatically goes to, I'm a victim, because that's the mechanism of defense. I'm a victim. They can't actually stand up to their points. Right. You are a victim of yourself and society, but yourself is in there too. Just absolutely. I just read that 77% of Americans between the ages of 17 and 24 could not physically qualify to enter the military. I bet you that number is way low. I mean, I bet you that number is from pre-2020. If that's a pre-2020 number, I would super suggest to people that we redo that number, because I bet you it's 85%. I bet you 85% of people 17 to 24 cannot possibly physically enter the military. Folks, staggeringly shocked at what I saw in the airport. Staggeringly. So, by the way, I wanted to point out to everybody, for this ad, for this right up here, 50% off all top brands. If $75 spent, you get the T-shirt that's up in there. T-shirt straight up from here. You get the T-shirt that's up in there. $99 or more, you get free shipping on all of it. And $175 or more, they'll give you a free one of these. It's either creatine or it's machine fuel. One of these three. They'll give one of them to you for free. So it's $75 free T-shirt, $99 free shipping, and $175 you get a free item, and the rest of it too. Crazy, absolutely crazy, and it's 15% off. Crazy ass deal, crazy, and it's for the Arnold. So what we're going to start doing, by the way, since I'm not a big sports supplement guy, we're going to use the opportunities for you to come up for my sports nutrition friends. There's also incredible deals on things that can help you. I do suggest, again, I know I got some Nutrient Driver, and I'm using this as an active ingredient for part of product 2, because berberine is also in product 2, along with 2 other ones, including one patented ingredient that I'm probably going to release the ingredient to everybody before too long. We're going to do the same thing we did with No Morbidity here in the coming up weeks or a month. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to start talking about ingredient by ingredient, what it does for you, what will help you out, for what the importance of it is. We're going to be very much focused on blood sugar regulation here. Okay, so blood sugar regulation, inflammation control. This is fabulous for inflammation, just absolutely fabulous for inflammation. So those sorts of things. Anyway, let me see what I got here. Oh, I'm going to scroll all the way down. I'll scroll up a little bit and I'll go. There was a segment on BBC saying that by 2035, half the population will be obese. I think I'm going to do a video about it tomorrow, or we'll even include it in portion of a live for tomorrow. But they want half the world fat. I mean, they want half the world fat. It's an absolute thing that they want. I didn't qualify for when I applied for the military because I'm crazy. I'm sorry to hear that. When I was a teenager, I couldn't qualify to a torn ACL. Sorry to hear that also. Sheeny Beanie, product 2 is insane. It's an amazing product. The 2 of them together is ridiculous. Like, I don't crave sweet shit anymore. I literally don't. Between the hunger management group and Crystal's coaching and getting used to, I do not crave sweet stuff anymore. I never. When this all started 2 years ago, we made sure we had sweet potatoes cooked every single day, because every single day I made sure I had to have something sweet, and that was a good thing. So, hang on, is Nectar the sleep stuff? No, Nectar is an organ support. I literally have it here. Like, I take all this stuff. So, this is the stuff I take though. There's not pre-workout on this bench. So, but Nectar is an organ support supplement, organ support and immunity. It also helps with inflammation. It has scientifically verified ingredients for liver, heart, kidneys, lungs. It's a good multivitamin too. I love this, and the flavors of it are rocking. We're probably gonna have our own flavor of this. We're probably gonna do pineapple ginger, I think. I'm hoping. And here's the granddaddy. Boom! Get your No Morbidity at Vitamin Shop. It'll be at Tiger Fitness here this week, or go to AmbrosiaCollective.com. Get yours right now. See, I take it all. Oh, here's Ember, Immortal. My mental jewels is right over there. I take it all. I believe in our stuff. I really do. I can't have no more until I'm off chemo, but I definitely want to try the 2 out, and I can save money on my supplements I buy right now, like ashwagandha and stuff like that. Absolutely, that's awesome, and I hope you get off very soon. I've lost 36 pounds on Mounjaro. That's good. Exercise, bike, and cutting sugar. I have a couple questions for you, Giselle, and I mean I'm very happy you are. So, how long has it been? Because that's a great weight loss. So you do the exercise spike and cutting out sugar. I'm sure that it's helped you to help you to cut out the sugar. Have you tried to go off of it? How soon does the effects of no morbidity start? Normally about 2 to 3 days for people. Some people notice the ashwagandha work, the relaxation work, the very first night. I've been waiting for it at Tiger Fitness. I just got it from Ambrosia. Excellent. Since November, that's very, very, very good. And no, not yet. All right. I do really want you to, like, when you first start to go off of it, for real, when you first start to go off of it, or if there's even a plan, because a lot of times they're saying that, like, you can't come off them, and I'm still reading data on that. But when you go to come off of it, check to see where your hunger levels are at, and if they start to rise back up, give no morbidity a try. Okay, because like the idea is one of the things that we have a problem with when people, like, it's the same problem when people go off keto or go off carnivore or go off, even don't wean themselves off no morbidity, is like all of a sudden the hunger comes back in a faster way than you would normally think about, right? So when it comes back in a faster way you normally think about, you lose control and you regain. The idea is once you get to the weight you're done, you want to make sure you ease off of it and make sure you have a good, sustainable, healthy lifestyle going on. So I'm super happy for your success. Congratulations. I really, really, really think that I worry about the pharmaceutical push. I really, really do. But I want everybody to understand, if it works for you, let's just make sure it worked permanently. Okay, I really mean that. So I don't want people to not, like, I don't. The pharmaceutical industry scares me, and I hope that this isn't something that will come back and hurt people because they don't have much long-term studies on this stuff, right? But it sounds to me like you're having great success, especially if you're having low side effects, or no side effects, which would be even better. But just when you come up about no morbidity as a backup, that's excellent. Make sure you, like, seriously talk to your doctor. And I don't know if your doctor's told you about, like, talked to you about any long-term side effects about it. But when you do go to come off as a backup, let me know, and let us know if you start coming off it and you're starting to use no morbidity. Please do let us know. But even while on it, please do make sure you're getting plenty of hydration, an ounce of fluid per pound of body mass. Everybody. That is the first thing, by the way. I meant to say that earlier in the video. The first thing I would do for Tess Holliday or anybody that came to this ranch for this reality show that we would do, an ounce of fluid per pound of body mass, including some electrolytes. We'd probably use Hydroglyph from Ambrosia. It's something that's coming out sometime soon. But we'd probably use that, okay? Because for people that weigh 350 pounds, that's a lot of fluid. I hope we're not worried about having it like negative, like this, like they should be getting used to it. This is how much they weigh, and it will help them tremendously. And then you go to Whole Foods on top of that, and you'll be so full and so satiated that you won't want anything else, and you'll lose tons and tons of weight. And then from there, we work on making sure we break any sugar addiction that you have. We, at this camp, at what would be the biggest loser, just actually helpful for people, there would be a pool, a yoga mat, light weights, back in the pool. You're 213 weight, can't wait to be under 200. Okay, that's a good goal too. However, get your mind off the numbers. Okay, focus on the healthy habits. You're on Mounjaro. You're eating whole foods. That number's going to move. Okay, you'll get updates at the doctors. If I was you, this is a slam dunk, right? You're gonna watch this needle move to the point where all of a sudden you celebrate it so much that when it stops moving, when you're done, it might fuck with you. Okay, so start teaching yourself to pull away from that a little bit. Okay, because that number 200, that's just an arbitrary metric at this point. At this point, you have the assistance you need to build a healthy lifestyle in a state of very diminished hunger. Because Mounjaro, take full advantage. It's awesome that you're going to be that. be proud of it. I'm not telling you not to, okay? But let's just start also focusing very much on the habits more than the numbers on the scale. Celebrate the number on the scale. You fucking did. You're doing amazing. Great fucking job. Fucking keep rocking, because that's a huge fucking accomplishment, okay? But make sure you start pulling your mental process away from the scale, because at some point in time, that scale number is going to stop going down. And you don't want to start identifying as the person who loses weight. You're just the person that's going to, right now, you're going to be healthy, and you're getting to be healthy, and then you're going to be healthy. Okay. And that's a range. All right. All right. Good. Great job. And you are very welcome, Giselle. Very, very, very welcome. All right, guys. I'll be back live tomorrow. I'm going to go talk to the clients, and Crystal and I are going to spend the rest of the day together. I hope you all have a great day. Again, Tiger Fitness sale for the Arnold. I don't do the expos or anything like that, but that is a great deal. A fabulously great deal. 15% off top brands, plus $75 you get the shirt, $99 you get free shipping, $175 you get one of these items for free. And also you can buy mental jewels there, all sorts of things there. Get Immortal at the very least. Use this sale to get some Immortal. It is by far the absolute best vitamin pack. It's not even just a vitamin pack. It's like an elite. It's many things. It's like 5 supplements. It's like if you look, here is a multivitamin. Here is a probiotic blend. Here's a greens blend that comes all the way down to here. Here's organ support for your liver, and here's organ support for cardiovascular. Salmon oil. It's an amazing, amazing product. Hope all of you have a great day, great evening. If you go party tonight, hey, it's Saturday night. Listen up. Hey, all of you, stop real quick. Stop leaving. Okay. If you go party tonight or have a good time and anything like that, it's just a day. All right. It's just an evening. It's just whatever. If you go and enjoy some time with your loved one and you have an item just for pleasure, be focused on the rest of the day on what you're doing, right? Because you have a little bit of time, even though it's 5, maybe pull back a little bit on dinner so you can have a dessert or something like that. But even if you don't, even if you just indulge for pleasure, for whatever reason, just be thinking ahead. Tomorrow morning, what am I going to have for breakfast? Try to make it all protein, healthy fat, start your day off with a bunch of fluid. Before you would have anything for pleasure, make sure you've hit your fluid goal for the day. And I hope all of you have a great day. I'll talk to you tomorrow. God damn.